Let's talk about Severance Season 2, Episode 7. It's titled Chicavardo, which is, of course, as we talked about in the theory video about what's coming in this episode, is basically the state of consciousness in Buddhism when the mind goes blank. It sees a white light, and this occurs after death, and it's the first step into being reborn. This is directed by Jessica Lee Gange here, and it is by far the most stunning episode of the whole season, in my opinion. We see a lot of this episode relies on the memories of Mark as well as Gemma, and they're beautifully told in a film look. They have the film, they're shot on film, and of course the other show is shot digitally, so you can tell apart the memories from what's going on. And so basically we see Gemma and Mark's story of when they first meet in the college. Of course they were trying to have a baby, we see, and there's a lot of trials and tribulations with Gemma losing the baby. They're trying to go to a fertility clinic, trying to figure out what's the best way that they can have their child. And it really does make you feel even more for this couple that are longing for each other. And of course the evil corporation that Lumon has separated them, which we'll talk about in a bit as well. But we see that Gemma is trying to have this baby with Mark, and slowly we see that sort of be the rift in their relationship. The thing that kind of starts breaking apart for them is this sort of Mark getting frustrated that they can't have the baby, Gemma being sad about it, and it starts to clash with one another. We really see that take a toll on them. Beautifully directed and beautifully told, this story from Jessica Lange, the way she directs the actors and showcases these very up close moments and these very cold moments as well in such a beautiful way. Now with all this going on, we also have Mark, who of course in the previous episode was trying to reintegrate with his innie, and Regaby was helping him, and we of course now see that Devon has come and she's worried for Mark. Regaby says that they're going to keep trying to reintegrate Mark, and Devon's like, no, we're going to call Miss Colville and we're going to figure this thing out with her. Maybe she knows a little bit more insight into this. And this is when Regaby says that, hey, you know that Gemma is alive, and that's why we're trying to do this, and I wouldn't trust calling somebody who's probably really close to Lumon to try and fix this whole situation. But then we see pretty much a falling out between the two. So Devon is just stuck there now with Mark as she's trying to wait for him to wake up. Now, while that's happening as well, we see the past with Gemma as she is in another severed floor. So it seems that Lumon goes deeper than just one floor. Of course, we have the top part, which is the outie world. Then we have the severed floor where the innies go to work. But then we have Gemma, who is in a bottom floor where there are other test rooms and things like that, the experts hall, what have you, right? And it seems that this is where Gemma has been kept this time now, and she goes to all of these different rooms throughout, and she is sort of doing these very interesting rituals of sorts throughout. She does 6 rooms a day, she says. She has a doctor which she is seeing that's doing these with her, and a nurse that guides her throughout, and we see that Gemma is getting tired of this. Now, it's interesting that when you go down this severed floor, it seems that you are your own person. So I wonder if any of the innies go down this floor, then they'll be their outies, and I'm curious how that would all happen, right? Do we see any of the innies going down here? Maybe Mark. It seems that Dylan might be one that goes down here, as he has the drawings from Irving. Has Irving gone down here? Maybe he has some small recollection of it as well. And of course Bert, as we know, seems to be kind of weird as well. So it's going to be interesting. But down here we see that there are several rooms with names of cities throughout them, and they are also names of the files that we see the innies working on. And one door in particular we see is Cold Harbor, which is 96% done, y'all. 3 episodes away and we're at 96% for Cold Harbor. So we're probably gonna get Cold Harbor finished by the end of the season, like we've all guessed. Now, something else here on this test floor is many people are theorizing that Gemma might not be the only one here that is putting these doors to the test. And there's Dr. Maurer here, who seems to be obsessed with Gemma. Now, he's in every room with her. Now, the thing about it is when you go into each of these rooms, you get severed once again. And it seems that each time Gemma goes into each room, it's a different severed Gemma. So there are in total about 6 Gemmas down here who are going into these rooms. And of course, when she goes up, she's Miss Casey. So Gemma's personality is very split right now. I'm curious how that affects her psyche. Now, one of the particulars that we see here is that Gemma seems to come willingly to Lumen. She talks about seeing Mark again, being with Mark again, and how this will help her. And she doesn't really have a concept of time down here as well. She's sort of like stuck in a predicament because she thinks maybe not much time has passed, and some of the time she goes into these severed like doors with these other rooms, apparently she feels a lot of time has passed. So I think her perception's kind of wonky. We even have Dr. Maurer at a point lie to her and say that Mark has moved on with his life and that he has remarried and has a daughter and all of that. So I'm very curious about that. Now, what do we think is going down here? So by the end of the episode, we see when Gemma tries to plot her escape, but is eventually caught by Milchick and the rest of Lumen and sent back down to this test floor. And we see the day that Mark found out that Gemma apparently had died, but now of course we know that was a lie. So what exactly is going on in this episode? So I think this episode was a great episode to really showcase the love and the dynamic that Gemma and Mark have. But I think beyond that, it goes to show that what's going down here at Lumen is a lot darker and a lot more puzzling than we would have expected. So what are my thoughts about what's going down here? Well, first and foremost, we now know that the Ennies are being watched at all times by others on another severed floor, where we see Drummond as well as Dr. Maurer watching what the Ennies do and seeing everything they see on their computer as well. So they're really keeping tabs on them down here. And now the other thing we have to talk about is what was Gemma and Lumen doing together, right? Because we have to remember that throughout the whole episode, there are Lumen markings everywhere, even at the beginning when Mark and Gemma are giving blood, and we see the Lumen symbol throughout. So Lumen's had an eye on these two for some time now, and I think they kind of realize that they may be the type they need. Lumen does these blood drives maybe to get DNAs because they're looking for a specific DNA for what they want to accomplish. Now, I think Gemma could have potentially gone to Lumen willingly because she wanted to maybe escape everything that had happened. It seemed that Gemma was broken. She was infertile. She couldn't have a baby. Her and Mark were struggling, and we saw that it was deteriorating the relationship. Maybe this was her last Hail Mary in order to save the relationship, but she didn't realize how bad it would potentially go for both of them. And I think that we see that because the Dr. Maurer, is at the fertility clinic in the outie world, so he's been scouting and finding somebody. Now, why does Lumen want somebody like Gemma? Well, I think that Lumen has been trying to get a sort of rebirth going for Kier, and I was wondering if they were just going to clone him or something like that, but it could potentially be that they want Gemma to become pregnant and give birth to Kier. I mean, we're talking about like Antichrist type ritual here, right? Because this is fucking evil to try and do, right? Manipulate so many people just for some rich fucking guy to come back to life. So it's honestly insane. It's honestly insane, and it's evil, and I think we're gonna get the full answers pretty soon, and I'm very curious to know what you think about this. So that's what I think they're doing down here. Now, I think all of these rooms are taking Gemma in is in an effort to maybe desensitize her. They put her through these very rigorous, stressful situations at times, and I think they're trying to really get a vessel that can take stress and things like that and really come out and have like Kier be like a perfect being of sorts. That's what I'm thinking is the whole process here with the rooms, because most of these are stressful situations, especially the airplane one was insane, and some of them are more mundane, boring, but still kind of stressful, like going to the dentist, right? So I think that that's what we're seeing here, and I think that they are just trying to prepare a vessel for Kier to be reborn through, and not really clone like some machine clones Kier and then it comes out like particles. Overall, I thought this was a great episode. By the end of the episode, we see that Mark has come back and he is awake now. I think we see Miss Colville in the next episode, as we saw Devin trying to call her. Maybe they do try to find a way for Miss Colville to help, and I think it's going to be a very great episode. In the next one, we'll have some theories and thoughts on it next week, so stay tuned for that. But let me know what you think is going down here on the severed floor. How many times can somebody be severed? That's the question before they start to lose everything. It's going to be some interesting episodes in the next 3 episodes as we get to that finale. The next episode's kind of short, y'all. Did y'all see it's 37 minutes? Let me know what you think about that. But anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. Let's hit 38,000 by the end of the month. We got a day to go for that and about 200 subscribers. Let's see if we can hit that But let me know your thoughts, your theories. What do you think about this episode? I thought it was beautifully directed. I am excited to see where the story goes and how they finish it, because this season is heavy. It's really heavy, and I'm there. But anyways, I'll see all of you next time. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, follow us wherever you can. We're on the road to 40K. As always, stay safe, stay positive.